The first mistake I made was not setting the proper time expectation. In the very beginning, I underestimated the time it would take me to detail a car. For example, I thought it would take 2, 3 hours to complete. Turns out that it took me 4 or 5 hours, and thus I would be late to my next appointment, and sometimes I would have to cancel. The reason for me was obviously I had no idea and no experience, and in my mind, I thought that it would take a certain amount of time, and often I miscalculated. And again, it led me to arriving late to my first clients. What I recommend that you do starting out, few suggestions. One, I would detail a car. Maybe start with your own car or a family member, even if you have to do it for free, just so you can get an idea of how long it takes. Another suggestion is that I would recommend that you only schedule one appointment on your first day, or that you space it out, meaning give yourself enough time at least on the first days, because you'd be surprised at how long a detail can take. There's many nooks and crannies, and there's many steps to be done. The steps are quick, but there are many steps to be done on any particular detail. My second mistake was not wearing the right clothing. When I started, I was looking at some YouTube videos of people that work with cars, and I saw that they had a certain type of shirt. In particular, I saw that it was a button up shirt similar to the Dickies type of work shirt, and these were fine if they're your style. However, I started to wear them simply because I saw videos of people working on cars, and I thought, oh, these must be the typical attire one wears while working on cars in general. So I bought two of these shirts and even engraved them with my logo. I was also wearing cargo shorts, and on the very first detail, I found out how uncomfortable I was. For me, the shirt was too thick. Neither the shorts nor the shirt were flexible, and in order to detail, you have to be somewhat flexible. You have to sit down, crouch down, reach, etc. Also, it was very hot because of the thickness. So, what I would recommend is that you get something that you're comfortable with. If that's cargo shirts, that's fine. But remember that you're the one that decides the dress code. There is no official dress code or expectations from the clients to dress in a certain way. So for me, I wear black stretch pants, like the workout ones. These are black, and I have my logo engraved on the side of these. And I also wear a breathable polyester shirt, also with my logo, and a hat. It's a fishing style hat with the back neck flap because the sun is no joke. And I can tell you that for me, this is very comfortable. Also, I see many detailers wearing similar outfit. It looks nice, professional, and it will keep you cool during the hotter days. My third mistake was not bringing enough water. Not bringing any water at all, really. I know it sounds dumb that I wouldn't bring anything to drink, knowing that I was going to be working in the sun for multiple hours, but it was just one of the many details that one doesn't think about, even though, again, it's very obvious. Thankfully, my first detail was my wife's uncle, and he came out and offered me water and orange juice, so I ended up being fine. But I just remember at about an hour or two into the detail, it was very hot. I was very, very thirsty. And I'm kind of shy, so I don't usually like to ask for things. So when I saw him come out with some OJ, I was like, wow, this is amazing. So remember to bring something to drink. Also, something that will replenish your electrolytes. Again, I know this is obvious, but something like a Gatorade or a Powerade, etc., and along with some plain water. For me, I actually make my own electrolyte drink. I blend in a little bit of salt, potassium, trace minerals, etc. Uh, I mix these into a 3-liter insulated jug. I put ice so it stays nice and cold all day. And I have a second jug for just plain water. And I can tell you that I almost finished these by the end of the day. So that should give you an idea of how much water to bring. I would say bring at least 1 gallon. My fourth mistake was being afraid of what the clients might say or think. When I started, I thought I had to have all of the answers as to how to clean a car, how to leave it perfect. I thought I had to have a lot of experience to be able to do this service, and thus I was very nervous when I started. But then I realized that most clients are very reasonable when it comes to having their car cleaned. You have to understand one thing: you are the professional. They called you because they need their car cleaned. You're going to do a way better job than they will, simply because they are not investing the type of time and money that you are. You're buying tools, you're watching videos like these, and hopefully you have practice with your car and your family's car to the point where you know how to clean one. You don't have to clean 50 cars before charging someone. Just start. Many of the clients just don't have the time to clean it themselves, so they just rather call someone to do it. So, my advice to you is don't worry too much about it. Show up, be confident, and present yourself as a professional because that's how they see you. The fifth mistake I did is not having a plan or not knowing where to start. Going to my very first car, I remember being in the middle of the detail and finding myself very lost. I remember working on this car and I was cleaning the doors on the inside, but then I was thinking, what's next? Should I clean the windows? Should I vacuum? Should I clean the seats? What should I do? So I ended up taking about 5 hours on this detail because I didn't have a structure. I just showed up and started cleaning, and I was making it up as I went. So I recommend having a written plan. Yes, write it down and say, okay, for example, I'm going to do an exterior detail. So first, I'm going to wash the wheels, then the tires, wheel well. Then I'm going to rinse the car. Then I'm going to wash it, whether it's with a bucket or with a foam cannon. Then rinse, then dry, then dress the tires, dress the trim, clean the windows, clean the door jambs, and then do the final inspection. I know it might sound tedious to write everything down, but believe me, this will make your life easier. And these steps don't have to be permanent. You can change them and optimize them as you go. But in the end, you'll have the perfect way of doing things. Like for example, today I've been doing this for 4.5 years. I already know what to do without even thinking about it. My list is done and already implanted in my head because I've done this so many times. So again, I recommend, if you haven't started, wash your own car and make a list of things to do. And you'll find yourself modifying the list as you go so that in the end, you're going to have that perfect process of detailing a car and you're not going to have to waste hours like I did. My sixth mistake was not having the right tools. I had a general idea of what tools to buy, like a vacuum cleaner, generator, pressure washer, soaps, etc. And it sounds pretty simple, but you would be surprised as to how easy it is to get the wrong items or spend money somewhere you might not need to. For example, I bought a vacuum cleaner that was way too underpowered for what I needed, but then again, I also bought a generator that was way too much. I think that particular generator was around $1,200 or so, and that was just way too much for a single person. If I had to decide today, I would buy one that's half of the power and almost half of the price. Those are just a couple examples I can think of, but I'll make a video in the near future explaining what I recommend to start with and what I recommend to maybe save for later down the road. The seventh mistake I did was relying solely on word of mouth or social media posts. Social media posts are fine, and don't get me wrong, word of mouth is incredibly important. One person likes your job and they tell another person, and that person tells another person, etc. That's great, and that's actually a foundation as to where your clients come from. I can tell you that today, a good amount of my business comes from either recommendations or repeat customers. However, it's not what I would rely on if I had to start all over again. In fact, when I discovered paid advertisement, my business completely changed. If you make a decent enough video or post on Facebook and or Instagram and you put some money behind it, you are most likely going to get messages from potential customers. There is simply no better way to get your business out there, unless you have a huge following, which most of us do not. And you don't have to invest a ton of money either. With the right offer, the right post and description, you can spend maybe $20, $40 a day and definitely get some customers. There are some things you need to do, like invest some time into creating a great ad and offering a great deal, which is why I will be making videos in the future to help with that kind of marketing. The eighth mistake I did was not focusing on the more profitable services. I used to do services that would take too long and I would charge too little. For example, when I started, I used to focus a lot on certain details like interior shampoo, and I would have bargain prices for these services. And they would take me about 3 hours or so. Not bad, but then I started offering headlight restoration, and that would take maybe 30, 45 minutes. And I would charge maybe about half of the price. So then I did the math and I understood that per hour, counting travel time, I would make more money on the headlight restoration. Now, I'm not saying that headlight restoration is better than an interior shampoo. Some detailers are charging top dollar for an interior shampoo service. All I'm saying is that you have to look at how long a certain service takes to do and how much you're charging and get your average hourly rate and focus on the services that pay you the most. One real example is that today I mainly try to focus on paint polishing, paint correction, etc. Make a note, I'm not saying that you can't make money on interior shampoos. That's not what I'm saying at all. But for me, it takes me less time to polish a car and I can make more money per hour. If you're like interior shampoos, great. I still do them myself. Just make sure you're charging what you think your time is worth right now on your current stage. My ninth mistake I did is not answering messages fast enough. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've answered a message late only for the customer to tell me that they already found someone. And I can't blame them. Sometimes I would take hours to answer for several reasons, mainly because I was busy detailing. That is money getting away. That is a potential customer that could very well be a repeat customer. You have to understand that when someone needs their car detailed, they won't wait for you. Put yourself in their shoes. If you need a plumber and you call one and they don't answer, what do? You call the next plumber on the list. I've had times where I call the client back after not answering, only for them to tell me that they already booked with someone else. My recommendation is to prioritize those messages or calls. Even if you are working, take the 30 seconds to reply to that message or take the call. You can work while you talk on the phone. If it's too noisy in your work area, just step away for a minute. Take the call, reply to that message. If you are driving, as soon as you arrive to your destination, make sure to reply because, again, that is a potential customer. My 10th mistake was being afraid to start. When I started, I was too concerned with many things. I wanted to have everything right. I wanted to have the best quality uniform, the best tools, a new vehicle. Yes, I used my new truck to start with. I was also concerned with things like noise complaints. I was afraid that my generator was too loud for the neighbors or what have you. All I can say is just start. You'll find that many of the fears that you have are just that, fears. Many people don't care about how good you look on a uniform, what car you drive, etc. Oh, and the noise complaint, I think I have only gotten about 2 or 3 complaints total in the thousands of cars that I have detailed. We can spend a lot of time talking about the concerns that you might have, but again, I just recommend that you start and you'll find that it really is not that scary as you might think.